it knocks down a lot of those barriers right from the beginning.
I totally agree. My philosophy on this whole system is that gaming and esports is the chocolate that covers up the broccoli. So every kid loves chocolate, right? So if you give them to bite into a chocolate brownie and get some nutrition in the middle, which is these skill sets, and like you're saying, it's more than gaming. Now you have a kid developing a skill set or going into an industry that they probably wanted to but didn't know how. So I congratulate you guys. I have so many questions that I only have like 13 minutes left. But as far as like the scope of the program, it's going to be a two-part question. Like, Mike, what are like your numbers and what all of the kids are involved in as far as competition-wise, and for Dr. Kristy, as far as like staff, who is surrounding Mike, because it's so many elements within what we deal with. Are there other teachers and classes involved around shaping these kids within the program?
Well, I'll start just with some numbers that we've had experience at our own school, and some of these have translated into other areas as we've talked to people across the nation. But one big piece is the engagement piece, and we're finding in our particular school about 82% of our kids have never been in any type of club or after-school activity that are now on the esports team. And I've talked to others around the nation, and that 80% number seems to be pretty consistent. Like, a lot of the kids that we get have never been engaged in anything other than just going to school and going home. So now they're involved in a club, and we're noticing that that's obviously having a huge impact on what they're doing in school. But we've also, in that class, we run about 96% attendance in that class. And for an alternative school, that's an amazing number. I mean, our goal as a school is 85%, and we're running 11% above that, and that actually is higher than the state of Kansas attendance rate, that particular class.
Wow. Dr. Kristy?
And as far as who surrounds Mike, in our school, we're small. So a little bit about our district. We have two high schools, one that has about 1,200 students and one with 1,000, and they both feed our school, where we run 60 to 70 students at a time with about 100 students a year because they graduate all throughout the year. And so in our program, it's Mike. And I always say, if the good teacher fairy could ever bring you someone to get your esports program started, have them bring you a Mike, because he's really handy around here. But if you don't have a good teacher fairy, the biggest thing that we have seen, and Mike just talked about this to a school yesterday that was asking, they were out in Washington, and they were asking, how does this work? And something that I think a lot of people don't realize is you're going to have about 10% of your high school show up at your first meeting. And so and this was this is from the High School Esports League, and this has run consistent through schools. So if you have 1,200 kids in your high school, prepare for about 120 kids to show up to your first meeting, all excited to play esports. And so typically schools are very understaffed in this area, and so Mike can talk a little bit later about how he runs that with student leaders and student coaches. But I think that is the biggest thing, is you are immediately going to be overwhelmed because of how many students are interested in doing this. And so we just try, because we are so small, we only have 5 teachers here. Every teacher is more than willing to jump on board as far as meeting times during the school day, and that's why we really encourage schools, and I guess this is my part, is we actually have a class during the day where we teach gaming concepts, which is the curriculum that we wrote, and that would be, I guess, the other piece that I would encourage students or schools to do, is get it into the school day as soon as possible, because then that after school element and the during school element can support each other.
And so we have about 8 minutes left. I really want to go over with this one, but I'm actually starting the curriculum this coming school year, right? So my question for you guys, what should I expect? And before we even get to that question, let's go into actually the curriculum that you guys develop and kind of break down the curriculum, and then go to that two-part, the second part of the question, what should I look forward to as far as embedding it into the culture of the school?
So the curriculum was written, this is my piece, is the curriculum piece, because people make fun of me a little bit, and I like to start out any presentations that I give by saying, my name's Kristy Custer, and I really don't like video games. But I do have a 6-year-old, a 14-year-old, and a 7-year-old, and so when Mike and I got together and we were trying to figure out how is this going to work in a school, we looked for curriculum. And we could not find anything there's no textbook for it. And so we set out to write a textbook that Kristy Custer, non-video game player, could use. Because what we know about teachers in the United States is that 80% of them look like me. They're female. And a whole lot of them are middle-aged females that really didn't get into video games. And that is changing, and we know that's changing, and this is all part of the change, is girls are really getting into this. And so our curriculum is actually turnkey, so which that means that you should actually be able to stand in front of the class on day one, and you are going to give a student survey on what games are they playing and what do they know about video games. And then on day two, it's the code of behavior, and so you're going to talk in your class about what this class is and what this class isn't, and the students are going to write the rules of the class, and then you're going to talk about day 3, the logbook. And so we really have set this book up for success for our non-gamers, because we know that most of our teachers are going to be non-gamers. And then the support piece for that is the after-school program. So they do get to play video games during class time, but the after-school support time then, that's when your students take over. So even as a non-gamer, I can have that after-school club where I'm not organizing the games, I'm organizing when students are meeting and who's on what team and who wants, I'm just the facilitator. The kids know how to play the video games. And so I think that when teachers realize that, it really starts setting their mind at ease that I don't have to know everything about video games to be able to do this.
That's awesome, and the as far as it's so relatable. So the high school that I'm at right now, we're 320 pre-K through 12th grade. So I can relate to the numbers of the first meeting. I can relate to just embedding the culture. We've had a good little first year. We're part of the high school esports league as well, and it was great for me, Kristy and Mike, because we didn't have any PCs or anything. We had like Mac desktops, and we were able to play Rocket League. But even midway through the school year, Rocket League stopped supporting Mac. Mac stopped supporting Rocket League. So let's kind of get into depth, Mike. Like as far as like what games are you playing? As far as students, what's the trajectory like for next year? And let's kind of go into depth about the program for a second.
Yeah, so we always have to break it up into parts because we have the class and then we have the esports program. So in esports, we run 2 Overwatch teams. That's what we play. That's what we're in right now. We were formulating a League of Legends team, but as you know, that kind of all fell apart with HSCL and Riot and some things going on there, so just some exclusivity deals and things, so HSCL couldn't compete in League of Legends any longer, so so we don't have a league team right now. We have kids who play league, but we don't have a team competing at this point, so right now we have 2 Overwatch teams. I would imagine, providing we're able to, we'll probably get into Valorant as that comes out. But in the class we play a variety of games. That's actually the beauty of the class, is we don't we have a different, we do Hearthstone, and I try to expose the kids to a lot of different types of games because, again, we're not teaching them how to play video games. We're teaching them, skills through the games. So if you're playing Hearthstone, it's a different game than Overwatch. That's, you're going to learn different things from that. If you play StarCraft 2, you're going to learn different things than you will from Hearthstone. League of Legends, you're going to learn different things. So we have kids who play Osu in there, and that's a music rhythm game. So we do a lot of different things, and the beauty of introducing a new game is a lot of the kids don't know how to play it, and that's where they learn that perseverance piece, because I'll hear for the first 2 weeks, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this, and then week 3, they're like, I can do this, look what I did. I was able to accomplish something. And that really brings up their self-esteem, and I think a lot of these kids, they've never been recognized for doing anything or being congratulated or recognized they could even do anything well. And the fact that they were able to overcome an obstacle, now they feel empowered to go do more things and accomplish more goals. So it's amazing to see just that one little thing in their life might actually change how they pursue things in their life. So it's really cool to watch.
That's awesome. And so, we have probably 2 minutes left in the actual podcast. I'd like to take this time to kind of plug away if you wanted to give a few shout-outs to some kids that you might missed or anybody that, you want to tell about your program or the website to the school. You had an open floor to do so.
Well, I appreciate that. So we have, I already talked about the Maize Education Foundation. I'd like to thank our school board, USD 266. Ty Stafford is actually one of our player coaches, and he's been amazing through this process. Summer Jabril was our first Overwatch captain. She's now at Wichita State, and we really, she really set the standard for this program, and without her, it may not look like what it does today. We'd also like to thank HSEL. They've been great partners for us, and we've enjoyed working with them, and they really do care about the students and the coaches and are willing to do really anything for you. And lastly, I'd like to thank Bubba at Varsity Esports Foundation. Their passion to help kids grow in this industry and help schools onboard material and computers and help with league fees and all the things they do. They really are doing a great thing for esports and for our students, so we appreciate them. And I think Kristy has a couple here.
Well, and just people like you that take an interest, because I don't know, we didn't really talk about this, but we have a class on the Microsoft educator community that has been viewed over 100,000 times, and we're just a couple of teachers from Kansas. And so there's just a need for this, and there's a desire to get this going. And, I mean, it just really has been grassroots in the educational community. And so we just appreciate getting the word out. And Mike and I are always here to help. We're pretty easy to get a hold of. You pretty much put in esports curriculum, and we're going to pop up somewhere in the world. And so we're in over 40 countries all over the world, and we've heard from a lot of those countries, and so we appreciate things like all the Google Translate.
Go ahead.
So it's just that grassroots and these small podcasts, and it's just been something, I'm a 45-year-old female that Pac-Man's about my favorite game. So I'm just excited to be a part of it and to bring that group, because moms buy video games. We might not play a whole heck of a lot, but, man, we buy a lot. So
yes.
I appreciate how inclusive the whole community is, from the people that are passionate about it because they play it and they create it, to the people that just want their kids to be accepted in schools.
That's awesome. I really appreciate you guys for developing that curriculum, and we didn't cover that. I kind of ran out of time, but I look forward to building a relationship with you guys and learning from each other. And thank you for what you do, coming from another educator and a father of some kids that are in school. So thanks for coming on, and I wish you many more successes and keep pushing.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
This was another episode of Go Play Esports with Christopher Turner. Follow him on Twitter at Turner_CP.